I honestly thought that that light didn't work. I just tried it for shits and giggles and it works. So you ever see those transitions where people will take a t-shirt like this and then they throw it at themselves and then it cuts to and it's on them? I'm gonna try that.
Come on.
So by no means am I a famous or successful vlogger, but I still wanted to make this video because even though the amount of followers and viewers that I have doesn't really mean a whole lot to me, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, things might change and I might have more subscribers than I have now. And so I thought it'd be cool, you know, a couple years down the road to look back and compare how I'm vlogging and filmmaking to how I'm doing it now when I've only been doing it for less than a year, really. So there's two things really that are vital to any filmmaker or vlogger, and that's your camera and your computer. Now for the camera, I'm using this guy right here, the iPhone 12 Pro. And I've thought about getting an actual dedicated camera, but there's really two reasons why I haven't done that yet. Number one, I don't really know about lenses and focal lengths and all that stuff. And number two, I don't really want to carry a big giant camera with me everywhere that I go. And when I say giant, I mean, you know, bigger than my phone. But I don't want to be out and about carrying a camera and all the gear and lenses and all that stuff. Plus, when I'm out and about, you know, if I have my phone in my pocket and there's something that I want to film for the vlog, I can just pull it out, film it, put it back in my pocket and go about my day. Now for the computer, I use this guy right here. This is the 2020 MacBook Pro. Okay, so let's talk about the M1 machines real quick. When I got this MacBook Pro, I got it just a couple of weeks ago, and that's well after the M1 machines have been out. But there's two reasons why I didn't go with the M1. Number one, the price. For the same price that I paid for the 2020 MacBook Pro, I was able to get a 512 gigabyte version versus I would have only been able to get a 256 M1 MacBook Pro. And then also, to me, the M1 really hasn't been proven yet. I know it has great battery life, it has great performance, but there's some issues that I've heard about as far as the compatibility with Rosetta for the apps that are for the Intel machines, and then a couple of other things that I just didn't really trust right now, so I went with the 2020 Intel version. Now, when I first started the vlog, I used this guy right here. This is a 15-inch HP X360M convertible. It's got a really weird long name, and this was a great machine. I really like this machine, but the reason that I decided to go with the MacBook is I shoot all of my videos in 4K even though I render out to 1080p. This has an AMD Ryzen 5, the 2500, 16 gigs of RAM, and yeah, it struggles with 4K. So the MacBook, on the other hand, no issues. But again, this was a great machine. I really love it. And then, like I said before, I film with my iPhone, so I use AirDrop all the time. Every time I film something or I take a photo for the vlog or anything, all I have to do is just AirDrop it right to my Mac and it's there. I don't have to deal with cords. It's so much better for my workflow. Plus, I can make phone calls, use iMessage. Everything just works, and now being kind of fully immersed into the Apple ecosystem, it just makes everything so much easier. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some of the other gear that I use. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't use all of it all the time. Now to get those overhead shots like you just saw, I use this guy right here. This is a scissor arm. I got it on Amazon. It was like 13 bucks. Okay, now, like I said, I don't use all of that stuff all the time, but the one thing that I do use almost all the time when I'm vlogging is the DJI OM4. I just picked that up a couple days ago and I've been playing around and experimenting with that, and so far I love the thing. Okay, so what about editing? Now, when I was on my PC, I used Adobe Premiere Pro, and then when I switched to a Mac for episodes 9 and 10, I used iMovie on my Mac, and now for this episode that you're watching right now, episode 11, I'm using Final Cut Pro. Now, one of the things I do on my phone after I get done filming something, sometimes it can be a really large file, and so what I'll do is I'll import it into iMovie on my phone, and I'll trim it down in there and then airdrop it to my Mac. And one thing that I forgot to mention, almost like 90% of the time when I'm filming and I'm talking into the camera like this, I'm using the front-facing camera just so that I'm able to see that I'm in frame and I can see everything around me and point to things and all that stuff. It just makes it easier than using the back camera. However, when I shoot B-roll or any of the transition shots or anything like that, I always use the back camera. Also, yes, I am aware that I have a little black spot here. When I was writing the sign for my other gear that I use, I somehow got this black mark and it's never gonna come out. My wife's gonna kill me. There's my family down there. And we got all of groceries in the rain. Awesome.